Hey everyone, it's Brown Coat Nerd. Today we have another review of a Zastava pistol. This time we have the M88A. Now if you're wondering, there is an M88. The A simply implies that it has this slide mounted safety here. Now all of the import rules I don't understand 100%, but basically what you'll find in a lot of these Tokarev style pistols is for whatever reason, when they got imported, they had to have a manual safety added. This was not an original safety. Sometimes it'll be here, sometimes it'll be back up here, sometimes a little further back. But those are all added, not by the factory, but simply for import. And Zastava did make this pistol with no slide safety. I'm not sure if it had the half-cock feature like the Tokarevs. But then they later started making themselves a version with the safety on it. So this is a factory safety, kind of like the M70 here with the factory safety on that. So that is an original safety, and that's what the A notates. I've seen some videos where people think it's describing the grips, or the standard 88 is wood grips and the 88A is the new polymer grips. All of the 88s might have the older original wood grips. You know, that makes sense because I think once they started making the one with the slide safety, they just didn't make the 88 anymore. As you can see, this does have the original wood grips. It's got the little CZ logo on there, which is the old Zastava, or still, I think, has Zastava logo, not to be confused with the CZ from the Czech Republic. This one is made in Yugoslavia or modern day Serbia. And at some point I am going to mix up Serbia and Yugoslavia, like in my last video where I said they're still currently made in Yugoslavia. That's just bound to happen no matter how much I try to find it. So when I say that, I mean Serbia. I know there's no more Yugoslavia. Anyways, so this is a pretty fun little pistol here. It's 9mm. It holds 8+1. The magazine does not drop free, as it does have that magazine disconnect in there, like a lot of these Zastavas do. Once again, this one's very easy to remove if you wanted to do that. But the easiest way that I've seen, kind of the only way I've seen, is you're kind of breaking the part off out of there. So I don't really want to do that. If I were to do something like that, I'd want to be able to return it to original condition. So I'm just going to let that be. Zastava does, like I was saying, still currently make these. You'll find them with the polymer grips. The finish, I think, is a little bit different. It still has a bluing, but it's a much darker, like a black bluing. Whereas this one's kind of that dark blue or gray color of bluing. And maybe this started out darker black and this just the wear, because this is a used firearm here. So, and then the roll marks on the newer ones obviously will be different. They'll say made in Serbia. And just overall in general, the style and the type of marks they put on there will change. Some of them will have that 9mm para right below the ejection port there. It looks like the newer ones do not have that anymore. And of course you'll have your random ugly import mark. And a lot of these new import marks, or when they import them, they have to give them their own, or a new serial number. I guess they don't trust the old serial numbers and that they don't repeat themselves. But I found it interesting that the serial number for this one, it's just the model and the original serial number. So it's like, did that mark, I'm talking about this one right here, really even need to be there at all, you know? But, you know, that's what the laws are, and they're kind of silly, and unfortunately they mar up these nice old classic guns here, but it is what it is. While we're talking about serial numbers, the serial number does match on the frame to the slide. I don't know if you can see that, but to the barrel. So they all match, which is nice. The barrel's in pretty good shape. This one wasn't packed in nearly as much grease as the M70, so cleanup was much more pleasant. I mean, it's definitely got a few nicks and dings, like back here it's got a bunch of scratches. This gun was definitely used. But it's not in terrible shape. I ordered this from Classic Firearms. They have a variety of conditions on these M88s, all the way from poor to excellent. And when I originally decided, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get an M88 to add to the, or M88A to add to the collection. I originally said I was just going to get actually just a poor condition. But then I watched their kind of unboxing videos that they do, and they're going through the different qualities of selections and how they're graded. And well, next thing I knew, I was ordering a very good condition. Also, unfortunately, in the video, most of the 88As that Classic has looks like they have the wood grip panels here, which is kind of the part of the reason I wanted to jump on this and also explain why I paid what I paid for this. Because I've seen these come in before, they've caught my eye. These are called the Baby Tokarev. A lot of times you'll see it advertised as it. This one pretty much is, you know, a mechanically smaller version of the Tokarev. But I always kind of thought they were cool, and I've been seeing, what I was seeing were the new productions of stuff is pretty much made for the American market. Because they actually make it in 40 Smith & Wesson. I came across that and I thought that was a typo. And then I went to the, one of the American importers that imports these a bunch. The name is slipping my mind right now, EAA or whatever. And they actually have it listed. They do make these current production in 40 Smith & Wesson, which kind of blew my mind because I didn't know anyone outside of North America knew what that was. And clearly, I'm sure that is strictly for the American market, too. But anyways, most of these that you'll see are 9mm. But I'd been seeing these pop up, and in the video that Classic has, they talk about the grip panels, and they said that it's just going to be luck of the draw. They did have a few polymer grip panels in there, and the only thing that drew me to this gun were these wood grip panels. And a lot of them, you'd see this little medallion here. You can see the hole where it once was, so not all those have that. These have fallen out a bunch. And it was just something about those wood grip panels. I was like, yes, this is what I want to get. Now, you can buy these new for the commercial market, brand new, for about $200. This one, which, like I said, is had the upgrade charge of the very good, was $250. And I can't remember if I am including the $10 hand select I also put in there. So you're probably like, why in God's name would you pay more for a used gun? And that's a very good question, because normally I wouldn't. But I have never seen these with the wood grip panels. And that just really kind of caught my attention. For the most part, I like used guns. I prefer a used gun over a new gun. Well, used as in former police or former military use. I'd prefer that over a new gun. Am I willing to pay more for that? Well, no, not really. That's also kind of one of the fun little benefits. They typically are cheaper. But with these wood panels, you know, I just had not seen them before, and it really just kind of piqued my interest. Plus, like I said, the commercial ones, the roll markings on the slide are very different. Also, the safety's in the same location. It looks like the same style of safety, but it'll have an F, like in white, etched in right here, and an S etched in down here, like right where this little tab for the grip would be. This one just has the old red for dead. And I just feel like that looks so much more classic than just an F and an S. I know I'm completely nitpicking here. But so there's definitely kind of a difference between the original ones made for the military and police and the new commercial ones. Now, as far as quality, you know, I can't say there's any difference at all. There's not a whole lot of videos out there on YouTube on this gun. I have seen a few where people are having issues, and they do all appear to be on the newer production ones. I would like to see a lot more videos on the newer production ones, because this one, I did not shoot it very much. I just recently got it, and I only put 50 rounds through here. So, you know, definitely wasn't running the gauntlet or anything. But I had no issues. The very first magazine, the slide did not lock back after the last round. But the few mags that I shot after that, it locked back every time. And I feel like a lot of times on these older guns, when I get them, you know, you clean them, you shoot them, and just the more you shoot and clean and repeat, the more that gun's going to start working for you. It's going to get dried grease out of all the little nooks and crannies and everything. So I am very curious to shoot this more and see how reliable it is, because I like this gun. It's very nice. When I first got it, I thought it was just kind of cool, unique. It wasn't that expensive. I hadn't seen them. But once it showed up to my FFL and I opened the box, I was just kind of like, ooh, okay, I think I'm falling in love. Now, one of the things that I did when I ordered this from Classic, they said the grips were going to be luck of the draw, and that was really the main reason I wanted to buy one of these. So like I said, I did order from the very good grade, which I think was the 250. I think the hand select was an extra $10 for 260. I might be wrong on that, but I went ahead and paid an extra $10 for the hand select. Now, as you know, I kind of have a love-hate affair with paying extra for the hand select, specifically from Classic. But the big deal was I really wanted the wood grips, and I know they said it was going to be luck of the draw, so I figured if I paid an extra $10 for the hand select, and they always have a little comment section on there that you can put in extra comments, I just very politely asked, I would really appreciate wood grips. I paid hand select. Now, whether I end up getting wood grips because of that or it was luck of the draw, like I said, most of them do appear to have the wood grips. So, if you want to roll the dice on it, the odds, I think, are in your favor. Although I have no clue how many people are really pushing the wood grips and wanting those. So they might run out of them quick. I have no clue. I have no clue how many of these they got. In the unboxing video, they were individually packaged in a cardboard box, so you didn't see the crate a lot of times like you normally do in those kinds of videos. So that basically is why I was willing to pay the extra to get the used one rather than pay, $50-$60 less and get a brand new one. And plus, like I said, the bluing also just looks a little bit different. And just that gray, that dark gray bluing in the wood grips, it's just, and the designs and lines of this gun, it's beautiful. It's very Colt 1903-esque. So I really like it. I don't know if I mentioned this, but they started making these in 1988. It's the Model 88. And I don't know really how much the military is currently using them. I believe for the most part they've switched over to the CZ99 or 99.9, and maybe they've even replaced that. But this basically is a smaller version, like I said, of the Tokarev. Now, I did another review video recently on the M70, which very much is a scaled-down model of the Tokarev. Mechanically, it's different. But other than that, the hammer pack, which I'll probably end up calling trigger pack again at some point, but the hammer assembly and all that is the same to the Tokarev, smaller. It's just mechanically the way it operates is different. However, with this guy, it literally is just, this is a Polish one, by the way, a smaller version of the standard Tokarev style pistol. Of course, the Yugoslavian ones had a little bit longer grip on their standard Tokarevs than the Polish one I have here. So if you're familiar with the Tokarev, you're going to be very familiar with this. What am I skipping over? Okay, features. It's going to be your standard Tokarev style sights here, very tall. When I first got this gun, holy cow, guys. These sights were drifted so far over to the right, they were just like hanging on. It's like, I don't know if the gun got refinished and their armor was putting the sights on. It was like, that's good enough for them not to fall off. Not my problem anymore. But yeah, so that was my first experience drifting sights in. And I got them dead center. This does shoot just a hair low for me. But once again, after I kept shooting it, I definitely felt like I was getting a little more accurate. And I was also just using, the basic shooting range reload ammo that they sell there. The top here is partially serrated. The front there is serrated, whereas the back is not. So, that is never a big deal for me. The front sight is driftable, which is nice because on the original Tokarev, you will see it is not. Now, the Yugoslavian version of the Tokarev, they did a lot of changes to the gun, and I think the front sights on the standard Zastava full-size Tokarev may be driftable as well. I'm not positive on that, but this one they definitely are, along with the back ones as well. The sight serrations are not nearly as sharp and cutty like they were in my M70. That was kind of my big complaint on that one. This had a lot of sharp edges. This one, fit and finish wise, feels much better. than the M70. They did a much better job. The trigger guard, you know, the M70 wasn't really quite sharp, but is a little rough. This one doesn't have that issue. These are just fine. I feel like they definitely put a lot more time in making this. Holy cow, everything's sliding off here. Pardon the technical difficulties. So overall, the quality, I feel like they put a lot more time in the M88. And once again, that might be different with the newer commercial ones, which is kind of another thing I was wondering about. I almost want to get one and just kind of play around with it, change out the springs and, you know, whatnot. So the safety, and this is single action only, just like your standard Tokarev. So the safety on this one's kind of interesting. Now your traditional Tokarevs would have a half cock feature, which this one does not. So you do not have that half cock option. Now with the hammer down, you can't put the safety on, and when you do that, it's almost like the hammer goes back to that half cock feature that we don't have on here. So if you're carrying this around with a round in the chamber, you don't have to worry about, you know, that breaking. Or, you know, that, well, I guess that could break and still hit, but it's not, it makes it a little safer, I guess is the word I'm trying to look for. I don't believe this has a true trigger block. I am not sure on that. You can also pull the hammer back, put the safety on. That way, you know, if you needed to use this, all you got to do is flick off the safety. Whereas with the hammer down, safety on, you know, you still got to flick the safety up and pull the hammer back. Or the safety, while the safety is on, the hammer can be pulled back on this one and locked. And then you can flip your safety off, which is different from the M70. On the M70, when the safety is on, the hammer cannot be pulled back. So that's just one small difference between the models there, that something I noticed. Also, just a hint, when you're taking down your gun, I know this is true on the wood grips, I'm not sure about the polymer. Make sure your safety is off before trying to slide the slide off, because as you can see, it's gonna give you some interference issues. So make sure you have that safety up. Another thing, which I have not tried this out since I shot it, if the safety's on and you pull the slide back, the slide will move, but it will not go back in the full position. It gets all weird, and then you got to push the safety forward. It locks it up. It's just kind of wonky, and that might just be this one. Also, there might still just be some gunk in there, and I haven't got it out. But this one wasn't nearly as bad as the M70. This is pretty well cleaned up. Like I said, I only shot 50 rounds through it. Everything functioned fine other than that first mag. The slide didn't lock open. And like I said, I didn't really get a whole lot of rounds to shoot through it. The magazine, if I didn't mention, it is 8+1. The mag does not drop 3. But this is your mag here. It's got a nice little metal pinky rest on there, and that is the floor plate. That is not the cover. That's the actual floor plate itself there. Gun fits very nicely in the hand. You know, it's small, slim, single stack, which what you'd expect. Overall, I was pretty happy with my experience with this gun. I'm definitely going to shoot it more. Now, if you're looking for a 1911 style kind of handgun, around the $200 price range, and you want to get something with a little bit of history behind it, is this the best gun for you? I mean, I definitely have no complaints about this gun. It's just the problem is there's another gun out there for about $200 that's very 1911 9mm, and yeah, you can get these for $200. Maybe not quite this good a condition, but I've been seeing some people get them in really good condition for that price. So yeah, but overall, like I said, I like the gun. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you've been enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe. I'm gonna try to keep putting them out on a weekly or maybe almost weekly basis. But yeah, continue watching. Have a good one.